The Great War, through a London child's eye.
July the 4th, 1916. Sid and I went down to Victoria Station to see the soldiers returning from the front line. There was all sorts of excitement. An ambulance train had just arrived. There were a great many of injured soldiers getting off onto ambulances. Poor things. At least they're out of battle now. Do you know, that train looks like the one that Mother and I went on when we went to Eastbourne before the war.
I bet that one didn't have red crosses painted all over it though. Have a little peek inside. Look, instead of seats, there's rows and rows of bunk beds. 36 beds in each carriage and 3 bunks high.
Gosh, a moving hospital.
That's right, railway companies have built them to carry casualties from the ports to the cities, all across the country. Like this one. They're around a third of a mile long. As well as those bunk beds, each train has accommodation for the doctors and nurses, an operating room and a pharmacy stocked with morphine, medicines and bandages. Everything the medical staff need to keep their patients stable on the journey to the hospital. And when you've seen some of the injuries, well, that's a good thing.
Wow! But how do they stop patients falling out of bed when the train goes round a corner?
I don't know, mate. Maybe they strap them in with bandages.
At least they've escaped the chaos of the battlefield and can be looked after somewhere clean. It was sad. Some of the men had bandaged eyes, and you could tell that they might be blinded. Others were on crutches. The most badly injured were on stretchers and covered by blankets. It wasn't hard to see that some of them would be lucky to stay alive long enough to get to hospital. Where do you suppose the soldiers go to now they're in London?
Oh, they go everywhere. Some of them will go to hospitals nearby. Some of them will go to homes that have been turned into hospitals.
Yes, like Grandmother's house. It's so grand, with so many rooms that she's finally agreed to let part of it be used by the recovering troops.
Let's hope that miserable cat of hers behaves. The last thing our Tommies want is a scratch of Napoleon. Some of the troops will get to ride on another ambulance train to other parts of the country.
I've seen some of the injured troops. There are a few hospitals near home. When they're better, they leave the hospital and often get a cheer from passers-by. That must raise their spirits.
Heroes, every one. And I bet they're keen to get back into the khaki and to the front line.
I suppose so. Why do you think those ambulances are driving so slowly?
It's to make sure the injured soldiers don't get tossed around inside. That's the last thing you'd want after getting bashed up by the Hun.
Father was telling us that they've got awfully clever surgeons right there on the battlefield. But I suppose they can only do so much to help if a fellow has been very badly injured.
So you had word from your father at last?
Yes, thank goodness. He wrote and said we weren't to worry, but of course Mother does. Hopefully he will be home again on leave soon. I shall give him quite the hero's welcome. There were great crowds of people outside the station, some to wave off their loved ones as they headed off to the front line, others to try and find injured loved ones coming back home. I suppose all these crowds will be their families, parents, wives and children trying to catch a glimpse of the men. Although there's quite a lot of people here just to cheer.
That's right. I tell you what, when the ambulance train started arriving, we'd all cheer like anything. Much louder than this. Heroes they were, and we wanted them to know it. But after a while, more and more injured men arrived, and, well...
It's just too awfully sad, I expect.
Still, when your father gets home, I'll bet you'll give him the loudest cheer of all.
The Great War, through a London child's eye. Supported by the National Lottery through the Heritage Lottery Fund. Read Edward's diary at funkidslive.com/Great War.